Howdy folks, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be doing another episode of World in Flames Collector's Edition, Days of Decision 3, Combined Game Playthrough. This is game number 3. This turn is going to be the January-February 1941 turn. Last turn we saw a turn of basically half bad weather, half okay weather, and I don't think any of the major powers could roll dice to save themselves. It was really just a disaster for every major power when they picked up the dice. That being said, this turn I have added all the Force Pool additions to the cups, so we have a bunch of new units in the Force Pools. I also went through the reserve pool and scrapped a whole ton of units. The rules specifically say you're only supposed to scrap 1 unit per turn, but I'm not going to do that. That's just a pain. What I'll do is every November-December turn, I'll just go through the Force Pools and just take out whatever units I think the major powers basically don't want in their Force Pools anymore. This has resulted in several of the major powers getting additional money or build points on their accounts. So the total amount of money they have to start with for this turn is going to be larger than what it really should be, considering spending last turn. But that's all right. Then most of this is due simply to the units that they scrapped, because I use the scrapping rule for build points. Also, I'd like to mention that this turn there are 3 major powers: the Soviets, the Commonwealth, the United States, and the Free French. There's 4. The Free French that are eligible for gear ups. I don't think we'll see the Free French gear up. I don't think they can afford it. But you're likely to see those 3 other major powers bidding, because all 3 of those definitely want to get gear ups in. And I think that's about it. So, all right, let's take a look at starting money for the major powers. And like I said, this is going to be a little bit higher than it should have been, but this is due solely to the scrapping I did. All right, for the January-February 1941 turn, we have Germany at 3, Japan at 2, Italy at 4, the Soviets at 4, the US at 2, Commonwealth at 1, China at 0, and the Free French are at -5. I considered what the major powers want to do for political options, put in bids, so let's go take a look at that. Okay, bidding for this turn looks something like this. Oh, and we have 2 major powers that had bonus bid points because they didn't get political options last turn. But we have bids. We have the Soviets bidding 2, we have Germany bidding 2, we have the US bidding 3, we have Italy bidding 1, we have the Commonwealth bidding 1, and Japan bringing it all up in the rear, bidding 1. Let's go see how this is going to pan out on the initiative position track. Alright, so we have the Soviets bidding 2. They're getting +2 for their 5th place position from last turn. And they're getting 4 bonus bid points. So that's a total of 8. That's enough to put them in at first. I guess Joe Stalin is going to get his gear up this turn. We have Germany bidding 2. They're getting a +4 from their last turn's position. So that's 6. We also have the US bidding 3. They're getting a +3 from their previous turn's position. That's 6. So we'll break that tie by taking a look at the political effectiveness track. You see Germany is at 6. The US is at 2. Is that 2? So Germany will break that tie. Germany will be 2nd. The US will be 3rd. Then we have Italy bidding 1. They're getting 1 for 6th place. That's 2. And they're getting 3 bonus bid points. That's 5. So that's going to put them in at 4th. The Commonwealth is bidding 1. They're getting a +3. That's 4. That'll put them in at 5th. And Japan's bidding 1. They're getting a +2. That's 3. That'll put them in at 6th. So the last card will be the Soviets. The last card will be Japan. And for the non-bidding major powers, Free France is at 1, that's 7th, and China's at 0, that's 8th. Alright, so I'll pay for all these political option bids, and then we'll go and take a look and see what the Soviets want to do for their political option. Okay, Joe Stalin wants to do gear up, so that's what he's going to do. He qualifies for it for this turn. It's going to cost him 10 money. There are some minor effects, most of which these minors are already either aligned or conquered, so it's not going to be too bad. The U.S. entry, however, is a +7, so that's going to be detrimental to U.S. entry from the democracy's point of view. But that's all right, because I think Soviet production is going to go to 21 or 22, just off the top of my head, somewhere around that. So I'll get that all put into place. I'll put the markers out, record U.S. entry, and I'll come back with the Soviets activating a minor. Okay, the Soviets are going to activate Bulgaria, and Stalin's doing this just because he doesn't want anybody playing monkey monk with it. He wants to keep them stacked with the Soviets. So we'll come over here. I think he's going to accomplish his goal. We have a +3 German. That was the one that worried him the most. We have a 4 Soviet. We have a 2 American. And we have a -2 French. Well, the French one going to drive it here. We'll do the French first. So that's 2. But it's stacked with a major power that can control it. So it's going to add at least 1. So that's going to be at least 3. So that does it for that. Same with the US. It's going to be 4 for this hex. So that does it for the 2 US. Now the 3 German, it's 2 for the hex, 1 for the boundary is 3, and an additional 1 because the minor is stacked with a major power that can control it. So that's 4. I also think there's another one for moving away from any allied major power, which the Soviets have an alliance. They have a minor alliance with Bulgaria, so it would actually be 5 for that hex. And the 4 Soviet is just going to take care of that. That kind of makes Joe Stalin happy because it keeps Bulgaria stacked with the Soviets. Now, we don't roll to end the turn because there are 5 major powers at war, which gives a +1 to the die, and when you have a +1 to the die, you can't roll a 1. So we'll move down to Germany. Let's see what the Germans want to do. The Germans are going to sign a minor alliance with the Turkish. With Turkey. So this requires a die roll. We're going to add 1 to the result for each factory or resource in the minor. I think Germany has 1. No, I'm sorry, Germany has 2. Germany has 2, so that's a +2. We're going to add the minor's willpower, which is 4, so that's +6. We're going to subtract Germany's initiative position, which is 2. So that's going to be a +4. The distance in hexes on the status display is 1, so that's a +3. They're not hostile. We're not trying to break an alliance. So that's a total of +3 to the die. So we roll 1 die. We need anything better than a 0. 3 + 6 is 9, and so it's pretty much automatic. So we're going to put the U.S. entry down as the treaty chart, and also any minor effects for the treaty chart. And when we come back, we'll have Germany activate a minor. Okay, Germany has decided to activate Turkey. And I think we got the markers right here. I think we'll activate the German first. That's 2 points. It's normally 2 for the hex, 1 for the boundary is 3. However, Turkey will be moving towards Germany within their own ideology, so that subtracts 1. So that basically stacks Turkey with Germany. Now to move that marker out of that hex is going to be a +1. Automatic, because Germany is stacked with Turkey and can control Turkey. So that adds 1. So each hex is 2 at least. So all these 1s and 2s, the Soviet 2, the Italian 1, the US -1, and the Commonwealth -1, are not going to be able to move it at all. Alright, and the last thing we'll do is we'll roll a die to see if Germany ends the political phase. Germany rolled a 6, so we will move on down to the US. Let's see what they want to do. I'm sure you probably can already guess what they're going to do. They are going to gear up. Yes, indeed. The U.S. will be gearing up. There we go. They do qualify for it. It's 1941. That's when they can gear up for the normal cost. And we had a bunch of minor effects here. We'll go put that out. And the U.S. entry is going to be a rather bad +9. So that's going to impact U.S. entry for all three of the fascists, because that's on a straight 1-for-1 basis. So I'll get that all recorded and put out, and we'll come back and have the U.S. activate a minor. Okay, it's time for the U.S. to activate a minor, and I think we're going to activate Brazil. So I'll grab the markers. I'll come on over here to the status display. So we have a 2 Commonwealth. We have a -2 Japan. We have a -1 Italy. And we have a 3 U.S. I think this might actually be sort of important how I actually do this. I think that, well, the -1 Italian doesn't matter, so we're going to do that one. I think we want to activate the U.S. first. I think this could be beneficial to the U.S. if we do this, the U.S. first. So it's going to be 2 for the hex. 1 for the boundary is 3. So that's going to cost 3 to get Brazil there. That's good. Now the -2 Japanese is going to drive it either here or here. And it's not going to be enough because it's 2 for the hex, 1 for the boundary. So that's going to be 3. So that Japanese -2 doesn't matter. Now the Commonwealth 2 points, that does matter. Normally it's 2 for the hex, 1 for the boundary, it's 3, but we're moving towards the Commonwealth within the idea, we're moving towards us within our ideology, so it's going to be -1. So that's going to cost 2 to get Brazil there. And that's going to be that, and I think the U.S. is pretty damn happy with that. And their gear up is going to put their production at, off the top of my head, I would say somewhere around 30. So their production just took a big jump up. The fascists better get the thumb out, because the production here of their potential enemies is definitely rising. All right, last thing we're going to do, I'll grab a die. We're going to roll to see if the U.S. ends the political phase. And that doesn't do it. So we will move on. And who's up next? Up next is the Italians. We'll see what they want to do. Italy has decided to build a synthetic oil plant. That's Italian option 0D. It's this counter right here. It's going to cost her 8 money and take 6 turns to do. But she will do that. I think that's going to be her best option right now, because eventually the fascists are likely to run low on oil. And the 8 is expensive for Italy, but that's okay. I'm sure the Germans will help out later. So there's no U.S. entry, there's no activating a minor, and there's no monetary costs other than the 8 for the counter itself. So the last thing the Italians will do is we'll roll a die to see if they end the political phase. Oh, and they ended the political phase. So the Japanese and the Commonwealth will get bonus bid points again. And yeah, I guess that's it. I guess the Commonwealth don't get their gear up this turn, but that's the way it goes sometimes. So I'll get that all recorded, and then when I come back, we'll take a look at reinforcements, and then we'll roll initiative and get right into the turn. Okay, so I pulled the reinforcements off the circle because it's generally easier to do it like this. And just basically show you what we got coming in. We got a militia for Japan, 2 cruisers for Japan, a factory, 2 carriers, a Zukaku and a Shokaku, a sub, a convoy point, and a battleship, the Shinano, going into the construction pool. That's it for Japan. The U.S. has a pilot and 2 convoy points. That's actually a 2. I think the pilot I will record. I don't think they have anything they can put on map right now. Maybe some of the CAGs. No, they're all garbage. Wait for something good. Come on. The Germans got 3 subs coming in. 1 float plane, naval float plane, 2 Stukas, a battleship, a couple of SS units. Oh, and a headquarters for Romania. The Italians have a carrier going into the construction pool. And they have a 3-3 infantry corps. The Chinese have a 4-2 infantry corps. The Commonwealth has 2 Norwegian cruisers that they repaired. They will be coming back on map. A couple of territorials, South Africa and Sudan. 4 convoy points. A carrier, the Indomitable, and a couple of light cruisers. The French have an infantry corps and a transport going into the construction pool. And the Soviets have a convoy point, a half-decent fighter, a headquarters, and a cav corps. So, let's go roll initiative before I get them on the map. We also got weather to roll, so we'll roll that as well. Now, the current modifiers for initiative are Soviets -1, democracies +1, fascists +2. So that's what we have for modifiers as of right now. So we got white fascists, blue democracies, and red are the communists. Well, look at that roll. 10-10-4. Jeez. The democracies can't win even if they want to. Well, the fascists definitely beat the communists, and I think they want to go last. This is likely to be a crap weather turn, and there's no sense in wasting our positive initiative modifier. The Soviets, no, they're going to go second. They're not giving it up to the democracies anymore. They have an idea of what's coming this turn, so that'll put the democracies in at first, and that's the order of initiative that we're looking at. Now I got to go grab the chart. Chart at one end of the table, me at the other. That seems to be the norm. Whenever I need a chart, oh, it's at the other side of the room. Alright, so we got the democracies rolling for weather. There is no modifier to the weather roll for this turn. So a 1 would actually be very beneficial for the fascists, and they would like that very much. But let's see what we get, and we'll go from there. An 8. An 8 is total crapola. 8 is a blizzard in the Arctic, snow, north temperate, storm, Mediterranean, fair, north monsoon, storm, south monsoon, fair, south temperate. The impulse marker is going to move up 3. And there's a +2 to next turn's weather roll. Yay! So I'll get that all recorded. I'll get the reinforcements on the map, and we'll come back with the first set of impulses. Okay, during the democracy's impulse, we had the Commonwealth take a naval, get her ships out to sea, block up the Axis as much as they can. They even put a fleet out here in the Eastern Med. They made a search roll for the convoys and missed, so let's not even bother showing at this point. The U.S. took a combined, paid some oil, got some escorts out into the East Coast, which is what they can do now. And the Chinese did nothing. They don't have to do anything. They're pretty much set where they are. Moved on to the communist impulse, and the Russians just moved a few units. It's blizzard there, so their movement costs are doubled. I think they moved 2 units total, and they had enough movement points to not flip over. And then that was it for them. The Chinese communists didn't need to do anything. Then we moved over to the fascists. The Germans took a naval. They just did some dynamic naval moves. That was all they did. They're not contesting anything yet, but that might change. You never know. The Italians put some subs out here. It didn't do anything at all. And since it's storm in the Mediterranean, it's rain in the desert, which means they really didn't want to move anything. And I think the one thing they forgot to do is transport's supposed to come up here and grab this infantry corps. So we got an infantry corps being transported in the future. The Germans did reactively play a line Turkey, or a minor joins in on Turkey. So Turkey has now entered the war. What that means for the Commonwealth and Free French and eventually the Russians, who knows? There are a lot of big minus political effects of that, so that could have an effect too. Then we moved on to the fascists in Asia. The Japanese do have an attack because it is actually clear weather in the North Monsoon. They're going to try to get an attack. Try. First up, what we have is a ground strike. Okay, and that means we're going to have an air battle. See if the Chinese can slaughter the Japanese yet again. So we got one Chinese fighter intercepting. We got a Japanese fighter escorting the Seoul bomber. So it's going to be +2, -2. Alright, get the chart. Chinese fire first. Let's go with them on the -2. They get a 5. 5 is AA, attacker abort. Attacker aborts front fighter or front bomber. Well, the Chinese are going to abort the front bomber. So much for your ground strike. Now the Japanese get to shoot back. And the Japanese roll a lousy 10. Attacker clears through one defending bomber. Are there any defending bombers? So that's going to be it for that air battle, because the Chinese did what they wanted to do, so they will abort their fighter. And the ground striking bomber will go someplace right there, I guess, as well as the fighter. Now the Japanese will allocate one ground support mission to this. It's going to give them the 1 point. The Chinese don't have any more fighters. There's no guarantee that they would have got the ground support, or that the ground strike would have hit. So the Chinese went after the ground strike. But what we got is they got a 3-to-1 here. We will get a +1 from HQ effects. And we're going to roll the die. 3-to-1 +1. There's no city or anything there. I don't have any armor for Blitzkrieg, so 3-to-1 +1 on the assault table. Let's roll a die. Let's see if we can roll another 1. Wow, wow, wow. Japan actually might be starting to do something. Can't see that. That's an 8. Japanese rolled an 8. And I'm going to have a +1. That's going to give them a 9 on the assault table. 9 is cross 2S. So the Chinese lose 2 units. They will lose the resource. They will get cadres for both of these. The Canton militia is gone because they've lost Canton. So they will get cadres for one of those. And half the Japanese units remain face up. I think we'll put him here. he's got to flip over. It's 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right, we're good with that. That's good. Oops, this guy is not supposed to be in Hong Kong. He's supposed to be there. All right, so that's what it looks like after we occupied the hex. And Japan's kind of happy with that. Yeah, they got another resource too. So I got to record that on their production sheet and subtract it from the Chinese. I don't think it's going to matter because I don't think China was using that because it's basically cut off. So I don't think it's going to affect Chinese production at all. But it might affect Japanese production. Okay, I'll get all that taken care of, and I come back, we're going to roll weather for the next set of impulses. Okay, let's roll weather. We have a +2 to this die. Well, I think the turn took a turn for the worst here. We just rolled a 10 for weather. In January, February, I add 2 to that, and that's a 12 plus. That's the worst possible weather you can get at all. Blizzard, 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 rain, storm, storm in the 6 weather zones. The impulse marker will move up 4, and there's a +3 to next turn's weather roll. So, excuse me, this is like the worst possible weather ever. I don't even know if there's going to be any naval missions. Naval air combat, no shore bombardment. +1 to search rolls. CVs and NAVs do not help. Maybe, we'll see. Alright, I'm going to get this recorded and we'll come back with the first set of impulses. Okay, we're back to the fascist impulse. This is impulse number 18. The turn is just blowing away. And we had a potential naval situation up here in the Faroes Gap. The Germans chose not to sortie their surface fleet, as did the Italians. They chose not to do anything because the weather is just too much to do anything on the land. Anything that moves or thinks about moving is going to flip over. So, I want to try the U-boats. We're going to roll some dice, search dice, see what we get. Ooh, okay, let's take a look. Rolled a 1 and a 6, so I got to figure that out because there's a +1 to the search roll and there's over 10 convoy points there. So for the Germans, it's a -2. I got to figure it out. I'll be back in a second. Okay, what we have is 9 surprise points, and that gives us, we'll go straight up. The Commonwealth has 7 ASW against 6 U-boats, and the Germans have 15 U-boat points against 10 ships, basically. So what that's going to give us, the Germans are going to use all their surprise points to move their columns to the right. It's going to give us 3 sunk, 2 aborted on the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth has 2 damaged and 3 aborted. So we're going to do the Commonwealth's damage on the Germans first. So they have 2 damages. Commonwealth picks first. They're going to go against this 9 because the Germans have to roll a 10 not to have it damaged. It is damaged. The Germans will pick one. They'll pick this guy. I believe he is a 9 as well. Yes. That's the one that was allocated. And he is damaged. So there are 2 U-boats that are getting damaged. So I'm gonna actually, they shouldn't do that. They shouldn't leave until after the combat's over. So these 2 are damaged. They both came out of the 2 box. Now they have 3 aborted. So the Commonwealth will pick this guy to abort. He does not abort. He's a half aborted. The Germans will pick him. He's not aborted. He's half aborted. Commonwealth will pick this one again. Now he's aborted. So he's going to go home. And that's the end of the Commonwealth. Now the Germans get 3 sunks. The first sunk is going to be 3 convoy points. Boy, we don't have any ones, do we? Three convoy points. We'll take these 3. Alright, sorry about that. And then the Commonwealth, another sunk. They're going to choose one of the Norwegian cruisers. Why sink your own cruisers when you can sink somebody else's? They'll go for this guy right here. These are the convoy points left in the hex, or the box rather, call it a hex. Okay, so that's a 7, so he's got to roll better than a 7. And he does, so he's damaged. He is damaged. And then the Germans will take another 3 convoy points. I can do that, I guess. 3 convoy. Okay, I got to make some change. Okay, that was taken care of. Then we got to abort one. So the Commonwealth will abort this guy. That's an 8. And he is aborted. So he's going home. And then the Germans get to abort something. They'll abort 3 convoy points. That's right. That's how you hammer them. I got to get a CP used for them. And that's the end of that round. Then we'll roll some dice and see if there's another round. And a 5 and a 6 is going to be a no. There's going to be no second round. So I'll clean up this mess with the damage and aborteds, and I'll come back. Actually, I think that's it for the fascist impulse. So I can roll to see if the turn ends right now. It's on the die roll of 4. Nope, it doesn't end. And I'll be back in a second with the weather roll. Okay, let's do the weather roll. Oh my gosh. Another freaking 10. So 10 plus 3 is 13. So I don't think... Well, there ain't any 13. So it's the same weather chart as last turn. Blizzard, 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 rain, snow, snow, and just really bad. This is also impulse number 22. I think the democracies are going to pass and try to just get out of this turn. So we'll roll a die. We are on a 6 to end the round. And they roll a 1, and that is it for the turn. So, and we're going to do partisans. Let's do that right now. Where'd all my white dice go? Here they are. Alright, partisan roll. Let's see. It's a democracy, so they'll roll for it. Let's see what they get. Okay, they got a 7. Got a 7 on the partisan table. 7 is Norway. Norway was recently conquered, so it's a 2. And there are 2 units in there. No effect. Ireland, Germany, Poland, South America, Siberia, Africa. Africa. We got South Africa. We have to roll a die for South Africa. That's a 4. South Africa's a 5. But there are currently 2 units in South Africa. So, no effect. There's a territorial in Durban, or whatever it is. And USA, USSR. Nobody in USSR yet. So that's the end of that. This was a really horrible turn for weather. Really super horrible. I got to go and do production and return to base all the ships and all that stuff. So I will be... Oh, we got to do one more thing. We got to roll for U.S. entry. So the red is German, green is Italian, and the white is the Japanese. Red is German, so we got 664. So let's see, that's going to result in the Italians are straight up. 6 on there. It's going to be a +1 for the Italians. We got the +2 for, oh no, that's 6, 7, 8. So +2 for the Italians. It's going to be a, not quite 2 years. So it's going to be a +2 for the Germans, and for the Japanese, it's going to be +1, +2, +3, +5. It's going to be 9. Everybody gets a +2. So it's going to be +2s around the board for everybody. So all the axes are getting a +2. Now, keep in mind that the gear-ups that the U.S. did and that the Soviets did are going to substantially damp that down. So, like I said, I'll get everything put together and I'll do the production, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, for production this turn, we have Germany producing 34 and starting with 25 and spent 27. Japan produced 18, started with 19 and spent 19. Italy produced 12, started with 7 and spent 6. The Soviets produced 22, started with 14 and spent 16. The United States produced 29, started with 10, they had to dig themselves out of the hole, and spent 9. They built 3 carriers. The Commonwealth produced 12. Yeah, their convoys are getting a little stressed. Started with 12 and spent 13. China produced 5, started with 5 and spent 5. And the Free French produced 1, started with -4 and spent 0. So I will get these units onto the circle. I'd like to thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and I will see you next time.